Hey guys, it's Kay from KS Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/PettyRevenge. Car alarm for the win. This was a few years ago, but one day my neighbors across the road came home with a new system in their car. They decided to invite several people over, open their car doors, and crank the music. Not only was this terrible music, but it made the walls in my house vibrate and I had a migraine. Now, you'd think this would only go for a minute or two just to show the friends what it could do. But no. I saw one of my neighbors go talk to them. After they walked away, they turned it up even louder. So, having no other alternative than to annoy them, I hit the alarm button for my vehicle. Luckily enough, my vehicle at the time had a very loud and annoying alarm. When I did this, they looked around and turned down their music. So, I turned the alarm off. A few seconds later, they crank it back up. I turned my alarm back on. This happened about 3 times before they got the message and had their music at a normal level. I've noticed a lot of use of the car alarm, and I am definitely approving of it. Lady demands to speak to an American, never says what language she wants. Some background. I'm an American that was born and raised in the South. It's an obvious dialect. So, English is a second language for most people here. Language barriers are not uncommon. All of this comes into the revenge. Years ago, I worked in a call center. It was a large company with English and Spanish departments. I worked in the English department, but sat next to our Spanish department. I handled billing. No one calls billing in a good mood, but in general, they're angry with the company, not the rep. You calm them down, fix the issue, and you're off to the next call. Few customers are memorable, but this one I will never forget, and I still laugh. This call happened on a busy day with long wait times. This just made the revenge sweeter. The call went like this. Thank you for calling blah blah blah.
I want an American on the phone.
What?
I said I want an American on the phone.
Ma'am, I'm an American.
I want an American on the phone!
At this point, I can only assume I'm not speaking the right language. Un momento, por favor. I put her on hold, transfer her over to the Spanish line, and just giggle to myself. But it didn't end there. The lines were starting to calm down, and I was chatting with one of my Spanish reps when his desk mate pops up and says she's got a psycho on the phone. It was the woman I had transferred. She was going ballistic. The Spanish rep had her on mute while talking to us. I apologized and told her what happened. She started laughing. Then she looks right at me and said, I'm gonna put her back in the Spanish queue. The Spanish department had a blast, laughing at this crazy bee as they kept putting her back in the queue. I don't know if she ever got her issue fixed. Then again, we never found out what the issue was either. She was too busy yelling at everyone. Moral of the story, be nice to phone reps. I may have used the wrong accent, I'm not really sure, but if I did, I'm sorry, and also don't be mean to people, that'd be great.
Okay, thanks.
Bad nurse gets cancer cleanup duty. I'm currently a cancer patient, leukemia, and have been in hospital for several months now. The cancer wing I'm at is very well staffed, and all the nurses and doctors do a wonderful job and try to make this stay here as fun and comforting as possible. I love them all, and during the crisis, no visitors were allowed, so we're like a big and cancer-ridden happy family. Well, except for one guy. Let's call him BN, or Bad Nurse. During the first month of my stay, I had very violent fever episodes day and night, and would start convulsing uncontrollably. On one such occasion during night shift, I pressed the emergency button because I was shaking and convulsing like crazy. I could hardly move and was in real pain. Also, cancer and such. There was no reaction after I pressed for 20 minutes, actually looked at the time. Then his voice comes over the intercom. Yes. I'm shaking. I've got a fever again. What's your temperature? I don't know. Please come. You need to tell me your temperature. And hangs up. I get the thermometer, and with my last willpower, measure well over 39 degrees Celsius. So I press the button again. The bad nurse answers over the intercom. I've got stuff to write. I'll be over when I'm finished. He hangs up again, and I'm left convulsing until after 35 long and agonizing minutes, he finally shows up. This is a major hospital and not understaffed. 35 minutes is way too long, especially in the cancer wing. Now, I had just finished a week of strong chemotherapy, and fever is common after that. Also common is feeling sick to the stomach, so they give you medication against that. I was, and still am, pretty chummy with the nurses and asked one of them when the bad nurse had night shift again. A couple of days later, I told the daytime staff I wasn't feeling sick, so no vomit medication, and made sure to eat the underwhelming dinner. Every single item on that tray. I felt my stomach starting to revolt, but kept it down until the night shift started. I pressed the emergency button at about midnight and waited for him to show up. After 20 minutes, my door opened and the bad nurse walked in to me violently throwing up all over my bed and the floor. After I wiped my mouth and through watery eyes, I said, "I think I need some new bed sheets." He looked at me, then the mess I made, utterly disgusted. "Sorry, Bubba, but you're going to have to clean that up. I'm a cancer patient and can't control my stomach sometimes." He somehow hasn't been assigned to my room since. TLDR, a bad nurse that took his time has to clean up my vomit alone during night shift. That took some serious dedication. I hate the feeling of feeling sick and like the throwing up feeling. I cannot with that. So that took some serious dedication and technically was also within the scope of his job. So like 10 out of 10, perfect petty revenge, and you haven't had to deal with him since. Also, I hope that you are getting to feeling better and hopefully on the road to recovery and such not. I want all the muffins. So this happened today. Just now, actually. I'm doing my elderly neighbor shopping every so often during the pandemic, and they needed stuff from a couple shops today, as it's been a while and they needed a good amount of shopping getting. I've been out for a couple hours by this point. I was tired and my feet were really hurting, and I was pretty much done with the outside world. Very much an indoor kind of girl. Don't go out if I can help it for months on end. So I was at the last shop I needed and the closest to home. I'd already dealt with multiple grumpy, entitled, moronic people already, and as I said above, I was done. This random woman, I'll call her RW, comes barging past me in the trolley park whilst I'm walking toward them to get myself a trolley, pushes me out of the way to get her own. Okay, I think to myself, she's just in a hurry, deep breaths, and continue. So I did. I walk past her as she's browsing the flower section, and I head towards the store bakery and wait in the orderly line that's already there. 3 people in front of me, 2 are a couple, so it's no big deal that I have to wait a few moments for a couple blueberry muffins. Then in comes the RW, tries to push in front of the couple and solo shopper in front of me. The person at the very front said he was in line for the bakery. She tried to stand behind him, but in front of the couple, they politely say they're in line. Then she stands in front of me. I nicely tell her I've also joined the line, and I think it's just behind me by now to save her trying to jump in just behind me. She then looks at me, sighs, stamps her foot, and this ensued. "I'm only here for a couple of them purple muffins. Can I just go ahead? I'm not going to take long." As she's trying to step back in front of me. I move forward a tiny bit to make clear that she's not getting in, but trying to keep socially distanced from the couple ahead. She was getting up close to everyone. "Actually, that's all I'm here for too, so I think your best bet is just joining the line. It's not long at all." She rolls her eyes at me, clearly getting fed up, and she starts walking. "For God's sake, 2 effing muffins." In my head, "I get it, lady. Trust me, I'm standing here with sore feet trying my best too." She eventually goes off to the back, but is tapping her feet, tapping her toes, etc., grumbling about wasting time waiting for a couple of muffins. So I then get to the muffins. They have a ton of chocolate, but only 4 blueberry. After seeing the 4, I was only going to get 2 for the neighbors so as to share, but I wanted 2 for me, and the neighbors wrote 2 on their list. The reason I was in the shop in the first place, I really do enjoy the blueberry muffins, and usually always buy myself 2 when I'm in there. And given the stress of the morning already, I felt I deserved a treat, as it's been months. But given that she made the 2 people in line behind me leave the bakery line, One looked like he wanted to cry. Because of her behavior, I decided I would like my 2 usual muffins. She saw I had 4, 2 in 2 bags. Her jaw hit the floor when she saw none left in the basket. I was going to leave the 2 for those behind me until she decided to continue the awful behavior after the trolley incident. She asked the store colleague if they had any more because some selfish woman just took the last ones. He saw me take them. I've been shopping in there for 5 years. Most of the colleagues know my face by now. He looked at me. I shrugged. He said to her that they only had what was put out already for the day. So she tutted and went about gathering multiple bakery bags and getting some other stuff. I continued on with my neighbor's shopping, didn't see or hear her again. And then, at the tills with social distancing, we're being asked to wait in the aisle near the tills and be called to load, so I was stood there, clearly watching the till lady, and then comes the rude woman, looks at me, walks past me, and dumps her trolley at the till, with about 7 bakery bags, 1 with chocolate muffins, so clearly didn't just want 2 muffins. And she started loading. The till lady looked at me as if to say something, but I'm not the confrontational type, and after today, it just didn't need to be said. But RW looked at me, clearly waiting for an argument. So I simply said, after looking behind me to make sure she wasn't about to inconvenience anyone else, "No, you're okay, you go ahead. I'm not in a hurry, I've got the muffins I needed. A couple extra minutes wait won't hurt me." And her face turned bright red. I'm sure I could see the steam coming from her ears. But she got herself sorted and went on her way. I made sure to pack my trolley at the opposite end of the shop packing bar. I purposefully went slowly until she'd gone. I didn't need a round 3. Luckily, by the time I was packed, she seemed long gone. I put my trolley back and came home. Neighbors are happy, and I'm enjoying my blueberry muffins with my sore feet up. They said they'll enjoy theirs even more after hearing my story. Now, I'm the first person to let people in front of me when they say they're in a hurry, or even look like they're in a hurry, especially since the lockdown. I'm definitely socially awkward, and I beyond hate being out, least of all alone. But if I don't shop for the neighbors, they'll have no food, in having no kids themselves. But after nearly being knocked off my feet so she could get a trolley first, and saying nothing, I wasn't about to be bossed around a second time. TLDR took all the muffins despite a random entitled woman declaring that she wanted them without lining up like the rest of us, after being awful to me multiple times. I hope you all enjoy your wonderful blueberry muffins, and that makes me really want blueberry muffins, like so bad. Still my friend's orange, enjoying night of puking. My BFF and I were sitting in English Lit. She had an orange on her desk. This boy took it and refused to give it back. He wasn't being a bully or anything, but kind of teasing, and then he ate it in front of us while he was laughing. So we told him he shouldn't have eaten it. Why not? Because it was in my locker for 2 weeks. I was going to throw it away after class. Yeah, plus she dropped it on the floor and we were kicking it around. And then I stabbed it with my pencil. I think part of the lead broke off in it. I hope you don't get lead poisoning. He accused us of lying, and we shrugged and ignored him for the rest of the class. The next day he came to class. He didn't look too good. Said he was up that night puking. We told him we were just kidding, that none of what we said had happened. Poor guy. Didn't know what to believe at that point. Edit, the orange was fresh, and we didn't actually mess with it. We only messed with his mind. The mind is a powerful thing. It just is, okay? Anyway, that's going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Really quickly, I'd like to thank my patrons. Up on the screen, you should see my face palmers and my crazy K's. Thank you all so much for supporting me in that way. If you're interested in becoming a patron, checking out the original posts from today's video, or sending me an email for possible inclusion in a future video, all of that information is in the description box, so be sure to check it out. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!